welcome to a new season of Porsche Top 5. Today, we go behind the scenes of the Porsche Formula E team's final preparations. Please welcome our drivers.
Hi guys, welcome to Porsche's Top 5. I'm Neil Jani and my new teammate.
Hey guys, I'm Andre Lotterer and I just joined Porsche for their new motorsport chapter, the Formula E Championship.
And today we're going to show you some special highlights about the series.
Yeah, so let's start with our top 5, the city racetracks. What's special about Formula E are the racetracks. We have the privilege to race in the heart of the cities and bring the race to the people.
Yeah, in our first race, 22nd of November in Saudi Arabia. We have 14 races around the globe in some very cool cities.
We will definitely travel a lot, but it's fun because we're going to amazing cities like Paris, Rome or even Seoul.
Yeah, which means we are going to the people with our racing. And on top of that, we don't make a lot of noise either.
Talking of which, let's move on to our top 4 with the Porsche 911X Electric.
Let's start at the front of the car. You can see the nose ends here, driver sits back there. Knowing that distance is actually super important on a tight street course. This is definitely a piece that gets used or scratched quite a lot. But you know what? Ask Andre about it. I think he can tell you some good stories about that. Then we move backwards. We have the halo. On here, we have LED lights where the spectator can see what kind of power mode we are using. So for example, in qualifying, you will see it flashing magenta, which means we have 250 kilowatts or 340 horsepower. In the race, it can also flash blue, which means attack mode. That means we get a bit more horsepower just to overtake, and then also the spectator knows, okay, we're on the move. 340 horsepower doesn't sound like that much for a racing car, but believe me, on a street course, as we have in Formula E, this feels super quick. And it's super difficult to drive also with the grooved tires, very little grip, so it's a challenge in its own. Now, we come to the middle of the car. That's actually where the Porsche starts. The special thing in Formula E is that every team has the same car. 80% of the car are the same, and only the powertrain can be developed by each manufacturer or single team. Here we have an 800-volt powertrain, same as the Taycan, which also shows that in every Porsche there's a bit of race car. But that's where we spend most of our time in testing, developing this powertrain, making sure it's reliable, very efficient, because in Formula E it's all about energy management during the races. And actually that is a good point to move over to our next topic, the top 3.
Our top 3, the race strategy. It's all about the energy management. You know, we have a battery and we have 52 kilowatt hours. And how long is the race?
45 minutes plus 1 lap. So that means we have different strategies how we can use our energy during the race. For example, we can use more energy in the beginning of the race to overtake if we had a bad qualifying, use less energy at the end. But there's always an optimum of a strategy. So we have to define that by a lot of simulator hours.
Exactly, so we can go on the laptop, and as a rule of thumb, we have to save 20–30% of energy per lap compared to a flat-out lap. So it's a bit like trying to use your phone the whole day, and we all know it doesn't work, so you have to manage this a little bit. This is where we have our engineers, they simulate this, and they give us the optimum sail points and recoup energy points to figure out the best lap time.
So a lot of brain power needed, which not only comes from the software, but actually we, as drivers, we also have to think a lot about the details. How could we adapt still? Because in theory, everything is good, but the practical use changes a lot.
These are not the only features we have in Formula E. Let's move on to our top 2.
So now we're coming to our top 2, attack mode. This is actually a special feature Formula E has invented for extra power during the race, so we can overtake hopefully easier. But here's the man who has already experienced it in reality.
Yes, I used it many times and it's a great feature to overtake. We get 35 extra kilowatt of power and we basically have to leave the ideal line and maybe you lose a position, but then you can overtake someone again. But it's a very fun feature. The car is more exciting to drive, more power, and You can see it, it's activated with LED lights on the halo.
And that actually is already the introduction to our next topic, top 1, fan boost, because that's where you guys can give us more horsepower. Fan boost, it is where you guys, the fans, can vote for us so that we get extra horsepower to overtake.
Yes, its activation means that the car will switch to a higher power mode with a button on the steering wheel that we can press, and during 5 seconds we have more power and then hopefully overtake someone and get into the lead to win.
And so that you know that we actually activated the fan boost, you will see it on the halo where it will flash magenta.
And another special feature about the fan boost is that we won't know up until 15 minutes into the race if we will get it or not. So we hope that our engineer will come on the radio and give us a nice surprise.
Yeah, so dear Porsche community, now it's your turn to vote for Andre and myself so that we have the extra horsepower during all Formula E season.
Yes, that would be awesome. We've added a how-to into the description and need your help. So give us a vote, Porsche fans. And this was our top 5 episode on the Formula E.
And this weekend, our first race.
So join the Porsche team, vote for us on Fan Boost, or for me.
But in any way, keep your fingers crossed for our campaign.
Thank you, guys. We'll keep our fingers crossed for your first Formula E season. Drive safely and fast. For the next Top 5 episode, we'll take a look back at some of the funkiest Porsche models. See you next week.